Oh, okay. I'm Suzanne from tvmag.com. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi.
Ethne, I'm from Asia Pacific Arts.
Hi. Hi. So it's our turn, of course. Yeah, this is Yu Zhou. I'm the co-founder and president of Lychees Animation. Very nice to meet you.
I'm Zhao, director of New Gods, Jian.
Yeah, also, as you know, Ji also director of White Snake, New Gods, Naja Reborn. Kind of very productive. Okay, back to you guys. Any question, feel free to ask.
Thank you, everyone. Now, let's go ahead and take the questions. Suzanne, why don't you get started first?
Okay, do you want us to just ask each one question each and go around, or do you ask all the questions?
Yes, one question each all around.
Okay, great. So my first question is for Ji. How is directing an animated movie like this different from a live action feature?
Well, I do work both in animation production and live action production, but I haven't got a chance to direct a live action movie yet. But for my experience, I think animation is more creative from like because you can create a world not happens, not happens, really realized in the real world. When my live action career, I was an editor, a film editor. From an editor perspective, most of the time you have to choose the footage from what you already have. But from an animation perspective, you can create. When you don't have that footage, you just, oh, I need something. Then we can join, we can just make it. So from that, I think it's more creative and more fun. That's why I changed my career from the live action to animation.
Great, thank you.
Next, Carolyn.
Okay, to Ji, I've seen your films, and I think you seem to be a big fan of Mad Max. And I wanted to ask you, so what are your cinematic inspirations, whether Chinese or in the West?
Okay. Actually, the animation filmmaker in China, I think is quite young compared to the Hollywood or other countries' animators. In our early age. Sorry about my English. I haven't used that since the
since the premium of White Snake.
Yeah, it's
UILA,
like 3 or 4 years. I speak English. Okay, I think we grew up with a lot of Western movies, and we've seen all kinds of like Hollywood or like anime from Japan. That's we won't say that that's part of our visual experience. So I never thought like for film is an international language. There's no, you have to say that there's no quite age that you have to do something from the Eastern point of view or Western point of view. Most of them comes from your heart, comes from your own experience. I think for you mentioned Mad Max, but I think Mad Max is, they show you only see that from the punk. I mean the punk style, but that punk is not belongs to any culture. Chinese can have our own punk because punk is a spirit, not only a visual style. Just because you haven't seen a lot of Chinese punk movie doesn't mean Chinese culture cannot be punk. especially when we do the hero like the new gods哪吒.哪吒, that hero himself is a very punk hero in his heart. So I think it's fun to combine what we learn from the probably the Western culture, and mixed with our own culture, and to create what from the younger, from our generation's point of view, to create a movie like what we thought is the new generation of Chinese hero.
Hi, next question, Matthew.
Okay, hi there. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
The art style is pretty incredible. Did you have a certain inspiration of what you drew from for the entire world? It seemed like it was kind of, you mentioned punk. It seems kind of like based off of steampunk a bit.
Right. I would call that silk punk instead of the steampunk. Steampunk is part of the
industrialization.
Right. The 18th to 19th centuries from the British culture. That's steampunk original where it comes from. But for our film, I think we're trying to create in Chinese Asian, because it's a Chinese gods world. When you think about gods, they always more advanced than from the technology, culture, everything. They have to be more advanced than people, than human people. So when I trying to create the spirit world, I think they could be more modern. They could mix modern elements, combine something we familiar with our modern life with what we saw, what we very familiar with Chinese original culture. So that's more like we combine modern China or modern technology with traditional Chinese culture, what we imagine about spirit world. Sorry, I try my best.
I think that I guess I can answer that.
Evni, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, it's Ethne.
Evni. There we
Yes.
go.
Thank you. And you've mentioned that you hope these films can showcase, the essence of traditional Chinese culture through a modern perspective. Why do you think that this is an important objective to have?
I think I don't know, like when I was a kid, I watched like old TV show of Chinese 神话怎么说来着？
Mythology.
Yeah, the Chinese, like the mythology story from the TV shows. They always imagine like people flying from one place to another, stand on a cloud. And just like the Superman, they just flies from here to there. Because I think during that time, airplane in China is very few. People won't see a lot of that. For Asian China, for Asian people, they cannot imagine that there is an aircraft flying from one place to another. But every generation, the creators, the filmmakers, the artists should make things from their experience. I think for our generation, we grew up seeing the technology grows very fast. So we should, that's actually just part of our life. So I think why the spirit cannot fly with a ship, with an aircraft. When I remember when one time I was on an airplane, and when 起飞怎么说来着？
Taking off.
Airplane taking off. I was seat next to the window, it's shield window, right? And when the plane across the cloud, I see the beautiful cloud ocean. At that time, I thought maybe in ancient time, the gods, the spirits, they probably just see that. They want to sailing among the cloud ocean.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the modern life, part of the technology that makes me think that way. For the Asian artists, they never really be up in the sky, so they cannot imagine that way.
Yeah, probably I can add a few comments. Apologize for my post-COVID syndrome, still cope a little bit. Back to the question, why I want to create some Chinese, Asian or Chinese culture to combine with modern technology. Because I think that's, as Ji said, flying through the cloud in the sky as a god is something we are quite, as Chinese people, we are quite familiar from our childhood. Our film actually, the main focus for the first audience are Chinese. So we're trying to present what they're familiar with, what they like, and also we're trying to give them some surprise. If you only give them what they know, that's kind of boring. So that's the principle, the bottom line of our creativity, where we get our creativity. And also for ourselves, we also like that kind of style. We call it after the China Reborn, there are new word called Oriental punk. Oriental punk. I think people coined that word. Yeah. Okay, that's. Thank you.
I guess I'm next again. By the way, I loved when the dragon went through the sky. I briefly lived in Chinatown in Honolulu, and I used to love whenever they had the big parades with the dragons. So that was really cool to see that. There's certainly a lot to see in this movie. This visually, it's fantastic. So I have a two-part question. Who came up with the names of the movies, and was there any concern that people might confuse it with the old DC comics by Jack Kirby, New Gods?
Okay. So because when we create this series, it's a series movie, we're trying to make something different with in China, the Chinese name of the movie is Xin Shen Bao. Xin means new. So it's new, but there's an original version of the story. The Feng Shen Bao. That's the original version of the story. So we're trying to tell our audience in China this is a totally new version. We use the same characters, same heroes, but it's a different point of view or a different timeline of the story. So we call it new. 新神榜. When we translate to English, because 新神榜is a rank, it's a list, it's a rank actually, it's a rank of the heroes in the Chinese Asian history. Who is number 1, number 2, number 3. So when we translate that, we trying to make it simple. We call it new gods. And
actually, we didn't notice that.
Yeah, we didn't notice that DC have the similar thing.
Thank you for pointing that out. That probably created some discussion, dispute. Might be a good thing to know.
Yeah, I think they were going to do a New Gods movie, and they decided not to. So I guess you lucked out
there. I didn't know that. We didn't know that.
Okay,
but as Ji said, the Feng Shen Ban, this story is in China is like more than 1,000 years. Everybody knows the story and they're familiar with. But what we did is we based on that legend. We put all the same serial, but in a new era, like modern China, because they're gods, they will not die. They'll live through all the ages. So even around us. So that's the way we are telling our stories. So this will be a series. Actually, Well, probably very soon, not very soon, it's at least 3 years, we'll create another sequel. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
So to Z, I want to ask, so from Whitesnake to New Gods, how would you say your animation direction has evolved over the years?
Good question.
I think for me, it's a quite fast learning experience. The Whitesnake, I remember released on
Actually, yesterday was a 4-year anniversary. Yesterday.
Right. Okay.
19 January 11th.
Yeah. So during this 4 years, I released 3 animation movie. That's probably
I think you are the world record. 3 years, 3 films.
Yeah. So for me, it's a very fast learning experience during these 4 years. During Whitesnake, I think I'm trying to adapt, trying to learn how to be an director. So I won't see there at that time there will be like some director points of view or director style. It's more like all of the team, we're trying to learn the new way of how to make animation so fast.
Yeah.
And for the next 2 movies, because Whitesnake, I co-direct with another director. So the next 2 movie for me, every time I trying to take a step to try something new I never tried before. That's always when I create a new movie. For New Gods, obviously that's a different style, combine modern and Asian story. And I never, lucky for us in China, we don't have that censorship rating for animation. I know in Hollywood you guys have like PG, G, whatever the rating. Yeah. But in China we don't have that. So I think animation can tell any kind of story. Can tell any we can do even if we want, we can do a horror story. So I think it's cool because animation more like media, not only a genre. Yeah, because when you think animation is a genre, it's more like a family film or kids film. But when you think it's a media, why we could try to make something more for like young audience, and especially when like in Light Chaser, all of our members probably under 30 years old.
Our age is around
like
30.
27, 28. Yeah. So I think it's cool. It's for all the energy. So most of our members, all of our colleagues, they don't even have a kid. How we can make a movie like made for kids? It's pretty hard for us. We don't even understand kids, how kids react, why kids laugh. So I think it's cool. Like for New Gods, the哪吒, we try something very 冒险怎么说来着
？more adventures. We take more risk. Take a
big risk. That try something like
very new,
yeah. And total new style, modern to tell Asian story. And for Yang Jian, for me, the latest one, I think is combine Asian style Chinese 水墨怎么说来着
？Calligraphy. No, I think it's
ink style, kind of a Chinese painting style.
Yes.
Combined with some CG technology, combined with some punk style. So for me, like so visual wise, it's a totally different risk, totally different adventure. At the same time, I think trying to make always trying to make a story. This story never been told in the original story. I mean, the original Asian fairy tales.
Yeah, exactly. So audience can always expect something new from Light Chaser. not a retelling or not to repeat something has been made.
So I think for me, after these three movies, I'm quite confident with what I already know, but I also found I have a lot of things don't know. I think it's very lucky I got a chance to 成长, grew up, to grow up at the same time when I even really made a movie.
Yeah, you also become a philosopher. The more you know, the more you don't know. That's very good.
Yeah, so I'm pretty confident the next movie, Light Chaser animation, and myself, we all will be 进步. We will be better.
Yeah, some ask which one you think is the best. We all definitely, it's a little bit diplomatic, but we all believe it will be the next one. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. What's one thing you wish viewers would take away after watching this film? Is there one thing you wish that they would like think about or learn something they didn't realize?
观众印象最深刻的，特别是可能东西方不太一样。
Yeah, I think it's it's a good question. I think it's different because most of I think is Chinese audience what they will think. I never really thought like what the audience from the world what they will see, because the difference is Chinese audience familiar with the original story. So what they will see is the different version of that hero. Because when people's point of their point of view, they thought that hero should be like a hero up in the sky. He will be like very strong, never lose, and he'll be like a god, a war god. But what we create, that person is more like a human. He really had a lot of like
a lot of downtime,
right? So that's probably for Chinese point of view. So they will think every person in their life they have their high point and also have their down point. But for the world people, I think this movie trying to give people energy of we're trying to let me reorganize. Okay, we're trying to make people think our family always around us, whatever they really be here or they already in the spirit world or in the soul. So they will always be your energy whenever they physically next to you or not.
Yeah, there's some similarity. I remind me with Coco. When your family member, your grandparents, or they pass away, actually they didn't die. They're still in your mind. But here, like what Yang Jian, I'm sure you have all seen the movie. Excuse me. Although your mom has passed away, but she is always around you. She's protecting you. She's still carrying you. Also, the world. Let put it in a bigger sense. Love is a big love. You love the family. You love the world. Keep it to peace, happiness. So I think that is a universal theme. People, we hope people, no matter where they are, they can understand. They can be touched by these feelings, this story.
I know we don't put much sequence talking about that. We know in the movie you couldn't see that very obviously, but I think like the main character Yang Jian, like the hero, most of his thought he never speak out. That's just in his mind. And when he look up to the sky with the stars, trying to thinking something, he remembers something. I think that's part of the Asian or the Oriental people's way of experience. We won't say everything out. Most of the things probably just keep in your heart.
Yeah, that's more like Asian Chinese culture, where more kind of introvert. You look in a silence, but the feeling, even a very strong feeling, are expressed by the very subtle move. Where you're looking at, we'll think of even very gentle, very small moves. I think these can. I'm sure our audience in China, they have been touched and they loved it very much. I mean, the hero Yang Jian we created is a very unique god, different from Monkey King, from哪吒. He's a very human. Even some particularly female audience, they fell in love with Yang Jian. They thought she is a perfect partner, not virtual. So it's a god, lovable, reliable, and very real. So I think that's, if we recall summarize what we got so far, I think that's something we can draw. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with the movies being based off of, the classical Chinese mythical characters and folklore, how do you choose which god you wanted to create the story about?
Well, very obviously, we're trying to choose the one more famous because we got more audience. And probably哪吒, the first one, was most famous one, and Yang Jian probably the second. That's probably number one reason why we choose him. Secondly, I think this character, Yang Jian, never been really told as the main character in the media before, and for me, I always imagine, because in all the works before, the video works before, Yang Jian is more like a two character. I don't know what two character. 工具人.
Like a supporting character?
Like supporting character.
Yes.
He's more like a guy people will have a certain character up there. Just like, when we mention him, he always like a war god and just always and same face, one poker face. So, but I don't think he's like that. I think that character have more to tell, and to he's a half human, half god. His father is a human and his mother is a god. He have to have some part of human and have the human soul, human experience, and human heart. Then why we just create the first human Yang Jian in the Chinese history.
Can you tell us about auditioning the English dub cast?
Actually,
we have no I'm sorry, actually probably we have our GK's colleagues, they are more familiar with a casting crew, and what we have seen is because we have seen
since the we cannot fly to America right now for the couple years. That's why our English sucks right now. We haven't used that for really long time. So it's we actually really like to involve in that part, but
but we have been working together remotely. I have to say our GK's colleagues, they did a great job to assemble, to invite all the dub crew, all the voice actors, and we have seen their work, and we have a high level of confidence. They did a great job. And also like 2 years ago, worked out together on White Snake, and also a fantastic job. And we haven't seen the whole film yet, but also we look forward to see it as well.
Oh, you
By the way,
haven't.
ask, have you guys seen the film? I'm guess probably the
We haven't
English.
seen the English dubbing version yet.
Yeah, how about you guys? You have seen it? No.
I saw the subtitle version. They sent me the other one later, and I haven't gotten around to watching.
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I have to see you should see it because I'm sure to sing English dubbed subtitle version is kind of painful because you need to read it, understand it. It's quite difficult. It's very easy. You'll lose track.
I think it's a really hard job to put like Chinese language into an English version.
It's a difficult job.
It's a very difficult job because a lot of the lines, they're like kind of, like point.
Yes.
And it's hard. It's easy for Chinese audience to get, but
yeah,
I don't even know how to translate it. So when they and you have to match the
mouse move.
The mouse. So I think they did a very good job to very beautiful job to translate that into English.
Yeah. So next week, let's do some promotion. Yeah. You guys are more than welcome to join the premium on January 20th.
If it was playing near me, I would.
Great.
Hi, everyone. We are at time. So thank you so much for everything. We will be stopping the recording right now. And we will send you the link.